Control of flies. True flies are insects of the order Diptera, the name being derived from the Greek di meaning two and ptera meaning wings. Insects of this order use a single pair of wings to fly, the hind wings being reduced to club-like balancing organs known as halters. Fly species commonly encountered. The common housefly, Musca domestica. Adults are between 6 to 8 millimeters long. Wingspan ranges from 13 to 15 millimeters. The thorax is grey with 4 longitudinal stripes. The fourth vein on the wing bends sharply forward, almost reaching the third vein. Fly spotting is produced when feeding and defecating. Eggs are laid in moist, fermenting, putrefying material such as excrement and rotting vegetable matter with a high protein content. Waste bins are regularly used as breeding sites. The blowfly, Calliphoridae. Adults are generally 9 to 13 millimeters long, with a wingspan ranging from 18 to 20 millimeters. The adults are large, robust flies with a stout abdomen. The thorax is metallic blue or green, and the abdomen is of a similar color. Eggs are laid on fish, meat, and decaying animal matter. Dead rats, mice, and pigeons are typical sources of blowfly infestation. The fruit fly, Drosophila. Fruit fly adults are small, approximately 3 millimeters in length, including the wings. That is about 1/3 of the size of a housefly. Fruit flies are a light yellow to tan color towards the front end of the body and black towards the rear. The prominent compound eyes are generally red in color, although darker variants occur. Fruit flies often breed in kitchens, restaurants, etc. with alcohol and waste fruit, typically with hygiene or drainage problems. The drainfly, Psychodidae. The drainfly measures about 1.5 to 5 millimeters. Drainflies have light grey or tan bodies with lighter color wings. The body and wings are covered with long hairs, giving the fly a fuzzy appearance. When at rest, it folds its wings over the body in a characteristic roof-like manner. Drainflies prefer to breed in moist, decaying organic matter. They are often indicative of blocked or broken drainage systems. The fly's life cycle. Flies undergo complete metamorphosis with egg, larval, pupal, and adult stages. Damage paused. Flies can be a serious public health nuisance in and around food handling establishments and residential areas. Flies liquefy food by regurgitating digestive juices and their stomach contents onto the food substance. Fly spotting is produced when the insect feeds or defecates, which results in the rejection of contaminated farm produce, for example eggs, at point of sale. Houseflies can transmit intestinal worms in their eggs. Houseflies are potential vectors of diseases such as dysentery, gastroenteritis, typhoid, cholera, and tuberculosis. Among the most dangerous of the disease-causing organisms which have been found on flies are E. coli and Campylobacter. Furthermore, flies are frequently the subject of complaints to environmental health authorities, causing major problems where infestations overspill from breeding sites such as rubbish tips and animal houses. Control of flies. The first step in managing fly problems is correctly identifying the species involved. Correct identification and knowledge of the biology and habits of the species is important because this will help to identify possible breeding sites that need to be targeted for corrective action. It may also identify conditions contributing to the infestation such as poor sanitation or inadequate screening of doors or windows. Breeding sites could be located indoors or outdoors, so control needs to be tailored with this in mind. Non-chemical control. Sanitation. Sanitation is the single most important step in controlling flies. It is generally accepted that the poorer the sanitation, the greater the fly problem. However, even small amounts of garbage or waste can support hundreds of developing flies. Fermenting goo under food preparation equipment or a neglected floor mop can support a serious infestation of fruit flies. Efforts must be made to find and eliminate the breeding source. Otherwise, the problem is likely to continue regardless of what other control methods are attempted. Promptly removing waste ensures that if flies do begin breeding in garbage, they will be removed before a new generation reaches adult stage. Good sanitation practices include bagging and tight sealing of waste prior to disposal, tight-fitting lids on bins and skips, placement of waste bins away from doors to avoid attracting flies to the building, keeping skip compounds very clean and ideally bundled to contain spillage, ensuring that waste is collected regularly and that there is an adequate number of bins, keeping drainage systems clean and well maintained to prevent fly infestations. Exclusion. Another very important method of preventing fly problems in buildings is exclusion. Exterior doors and windows should be properly screened and kept closed whenever practical. Plastic strip curtains and air doors can be used to deny fly access in some situations. Traps. Once flies are inside a building, light traps can be used to capture the winged adults. These traps usually employ ultraviolet light as an attractant and kill either by electrocution or entrapment on replaceable glue-covered cardboard inserts. In order for these traps to be effective, they must be properly positioned along routes of fly entry and movement. They must also be installed at the proper height, ideally within 1.5 meters of the floor, and away from windows and other competing light sources. The glow of a light trap should not be visible from outside. Otherwise, the trap will attract insects into the building when doorways are open. Bulbs should be replaced each year and catch pans or glue boards serviced routinely to prevent dead insects from becoming a food source for other insects. Bottle or jar traps are also useful for capturing adult flies. Bottle traps are especially useful for trapping fruit flies once the breeding source is eliminated. A simple jar trap for fruit flies can be made by placing a paper funnel into a jar, which is then baited with a few ounces of cider vinegar as an attractant. Chemical control. In most cases, insecticide should be considered a secondary form of fly control after sanitation, exclusion and trapping. Regardless of how effective a treatment may appear, unless you locate and eliminate the breeding source and or point of entry into a structure, the problem will continue. Moreover, because flies reproduce rapidly, they quickly develop resistance to most insecticides. Non-residual contact sprays. Temporary control of adult flies can be achieved by applying synthesized pyrethrins or a short residual synthetic pyrethroid such as allothrin, sumathrin or resmethrin. While these insecticides quickly knock down adult flies, they provide no lasting effect and do not control developing larvae. Application can be made with aerosol type dispensers, ULV or ultra low volume or fog generating equipment. For optimum results indoors, apply the precise amount of material per cubic area specified on the label. When performing space treatments, the applicator should follow the label instructions and wear the appropriate personal protective equipment. He should also ensure that no people are present and that any food, utensils or food preparation surfaces are covered or washed before reusing. Residual sprays. Residual insecticides are sometimes useful in fly control, but only as a supplement to other methods already mentioned. Treatments should be applied as coarse, low-pressure sprays, confined to surfaces where flies rest and are likely to absorb a lethal dose. For example, areas around dumpsters or sun-exposed exterior walls adjacent to a doorway. Several different insecticides are registered, including diazinon and propoxo. Synthetic pyrethroids such as cypermethrin and cyfluthrin are also very effective, especially as a wettable powder or microencapsulated formulation. Fly baits. Baits are a mixture of toxicants and attractants and are used primarily to control houseflies. Most fly baits contain sugar and the housefly sex pheromone musculeur Z9-trichosine with thiamotoxin as the toxicant. These keep the fly in contact with the toxicant for a longer time. Fly baits are typically formulated as granules, which are placed in shallow trays or scattered around dumpsters and other fly breeding areas. Their effect is short-lived unless the bait is reapplied. Thank you for watching.